this class. Today we are taking the last concept from our fifth chapter, that is organizing. Okay, so what is our today's class topic? Today's class topic is decentralization. ನೋಡ್ರಿ 5ನೇ ಪಾಠದಾಗಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕೊನೆಯ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟಿವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣವನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡೋಣದಿ. See, all the points and concepts whatever are given, it is to be implemented into your personality, and all the knowledge, skill and experience that you are gathering in this journey of your life and education, you should implement it into your workplace to get the success. Okay, so yes, today what we are going to understand, what do you mean by decentralization. First andru decentralization andre ಏನು ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡೋಣ. See, when it comes to decision making is very important, because whatever decisions you take, it will have effects, it will have repercussions, and therefore it becomes very important to take the right decisions at the right time to get the right result. Okay, now if only one person or only one department is given the complete charge of taking all the decisions, sometimes it may lead to delay in decision makings. Sometimes the decision may become biased. Sometimes the decision may not be right also. So therefore, depending upon the organization, depending upon the nature of the business, depending upon the size of the business, depending upon the type of the business, you have to decide whether decentralization is good or centralization is good. And at times you need to shift also from decentralization to centralization. Nodri, yaವಾಗ ನಾವು as a person ಅಥವಾ as a person who has the power, we live our professional life, you cannot live in one way. ನಾ ಹಿಂಗ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾ ಹಿಂಗ ಮಾಡಕತ್ತೀನಿ, ಹಿಂಗ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. That attitude won't be welcomed. Okay, so depending upon the time and situation, your strategy should change, and that's why we call it as strategy, because as time is never the same, it changes every time. It changes, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad, sometimes it's tough, sometimes it's easy. So depending upon, see, that's why the business environment is very important. So as and how the circumstances are changing, you need to change. Okay, and therefore it is important for a leader or a manager to realize or understand that how he can take proper decisions by implementing centralization or decentralization. See, in yesterday's class or in previous class, you have already understood what do you mean by delegation. Okay, so the elements of delegation involves authority, responsibility and accountability. Correct? So it's very important to delegate the work. Again, why do we do the delegation? So that it helps in the smooth functioning of any organization. Now today we are moving one step further and we are trying to understand what is decentralization, what is centralization, and how it can be adopted into any organization. Okay, so to understand that, first let us understand what do you mean by decentralization. Decentralization refers to systematic effort to delegate. Okay, so first, before understanding decentralization, it is very important you understand the previous class. Okay, so decentralization refers to systematic effort to delegate to the lowest level all authority except that which can be exercised at central points. Understand this. Yen bahal agadi mahatvada, too much important and confidential matters are there. Only that much should be kept at the central level, that's in the top management. Rest all should be delegated. It should be passed on to the further levels of management. See, that's why staffing is very important. With this only the next chapter will come, that is staffing. The one who has the ability to take decisions, only to them you will give this responsibility. See, everybody cannot become a leader. Please understand this. Everybody does not have that capacity of taking the decision. ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಯಸ್ಸಾದಂತರೂ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಇದು ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅದು ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅದ ನಿಮಗೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. You are unable to make up your mind also whether to go to the college or not, whether to study or not, whether to wear this dress or not. You have so many silly issues. Okay. So those who are involved into silly things, they cannot become a leader. So ultimately the one who is appointed, who has that qualities or caliber, for them only this power will be delegated, the authority will be given. And that's why only the appointment of the right candidate becomes very much important. So when we are speaking about decentralization, the passing of the power or authority to the lower levels, middle level and lower level, of course it will be passed on only to the one who has that kind of caliber, not to everyone. Okay? So decentralization refers to what? It refers to systematic effort to delegate to the lowest level all authority, all power you are going to give, except that which can be exercised at central points only. Who has given this definition? It has been given by Lewis Allen. Okay? ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣವು ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಸ್ಥಾನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಳಕೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾದದನ್ನು ಹೊರತುಪಡಿಸಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಧಿಕಾರವನ್ನು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಕೆಳ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಯೋಜಿಸುವ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತವಾದ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಎಂದು ಉಲ್ಲೇಖಿಸಬಹುದು. ಈ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನವನ್ನು ಯಾರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಾರ ನೋಡ್ರಿ? ಲೂಯಿಸ್ ಆಲನ್ ಅವರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಾರ. ಸೊ ಬಹಳ ಸರಳ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ನಿಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಕ್ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಕತ್ತಾರು. ದಟ್ ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಗದಿ ಬಹಳ ಮಹತ್ವದ ಮತ್ತು ಅಗದಿ ಗೋಪನೀಯ ಇಡುವಂತ ಏನು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಮತ್ತು ನಿರ್ಣಯ ಇರ್ತಾವ ಅವನಷ್ಟು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಉಳಿಕೆದ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ನೀವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ? ಮಧ್ಯ ಹಂತ ಮತ್ತು ಕೇಳ ಹಂತ ನಡು ಹಂಚಿ ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಯೋಜಿಸುತ್ತೀರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇದು ಏನ್ ಕಾರ್ಯ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಕತ್ತೀರಿ, ಇದೇನ್ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಕತ್ತೀರಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಡೆಲಿಬ್ರೇಟ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಕತ್ತೀರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇದು ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಿ? ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಯಾರದ್ರಾಗ ಗುಣ ಐತಿ, ಯಾರದ್ರಾಗ ಕ್ಷಮತೆ ಐತಿ, ಮತ್ತು ಯಾರದ್ರಾಗ ಅದು ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಐತಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್, ಸಿ ಹಿಯರ್, this small diagram will help you in understanding what is centralization and what is decentralization. Centralization means what? The complete power in the center, into the hand of the one particular party, and rest all they cannot take any decisions. The only work they can do is to follow. Okay, so that is called as centralization, where all the power, all the decision making authority is laid into one hand. That is centralization. Okay, whereas decentralization, what? It will delegate the work, it will give the work to certain people and they will take care of the further implementation of the work. That is called decentralization. Okay, so basic centralization, decentralization of the ಅರ್ಥ ನಿಮಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಚಿತ್ರದಿಂದನೂ ತಿಳಿದುಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನ ತಗೋಣ. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್. Everything which goes to increase the importance of subordinates' role is decentralization. Everything that goes to reduce it is centralization. So much clear-cut information and definition is this. Who has given this? See, it has been given by Henry Fayol. ಅಧೀನರ ಪಾತ್ರದ ಪ್ರಾಮುಖ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸುವತ್ತ ಹೋಗುವ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದದ್ದು ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕಡಿಮೆಯಾಗಿಸುವತ್ತು ಹೋಗುವ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ. ಇದನ್ನು ಯಾರು ಹೇಳ್ಯಾರ ನೋಡ್ರಿ? ಹೆನ್ರಿ ಫೇಯೋಲ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್. In an organization, when everybody has equal power, they have importance, their word, their values, their suggestions has some importance, that is called centralization. See, everything which goes on to increase the importance of subordinates' role is decentralization. Okay, so where every person has a point of view and they have the right to express, they are an important stakeholder into the decision making, then they are called as, that organization is called as decentralization. Okay, everybody has the power to take decisions. That is decentralization. So ultimately, can I say here the subordinates are also equally important? Yes, they are important. But here, can you see the subordinates, they have some importance? No. He is also having the same value and this person also is having the same value only. Because ultimately they need to follow whatever order is coming from the center itself. But here this person will value and oblige to this head only, not directly to the center. Okay, so can I say that in decentralization, the importance and the role of this subordinate is more than the centralization? Yes, it is more. So when the role of the subordinate increases, understand it, according to Henry Fayol, when the role of the subordinate increases, it is called decentralization, and when the role and importance of the subordinate decreases, that is called centralization. And this is a very common practice into every organization. ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಲಿಖಿತದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಬೇಕು ನೋಡ್ರಿ. ಅಂಡ್ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಅಧೀನನ ಪಾತ್ರದ ಪ್ರಾಮುಖ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುವ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ. ಸೊ ಯಾರ ಅಧೀನರಾದರು, ಯಾವಾಗ ಅವ್ರ ಪಾತ್ರ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಮಹತ್ವ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀರಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀರಿ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಧೀನರದ ಏನ್ ಪಾತ್ರ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಏನ್ ಅವ್ರ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಕಾರ್ಯ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಅದರದ್ದು ಬಹಳ ಪರಿ ಏನ್ ಮಹತ್ವ ಇರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು ಉಳುಕಿದವ್ರ ಗತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಏನ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಬಂದಿರ್ತೈತಿ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಪಾಲನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗುದು ಅಂತಿತ್ತಂದ್ರ ಅದು ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೈತಿ, ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತೈತಿ. ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಅಗದಿ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಕಾಮನ್ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರ ಹೆಡ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಬ್ರಾಂಚ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಹಿಂಗ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀರಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಏನ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಆಫೀಸಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಪವರ್ ಭಾಳ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅವರು ಏನ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅದು ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿನೂ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಭಾಳ ಒಂದು ರೋಲ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಏನ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವ, ಆ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್ ದಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಲಿನ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಬಂದಿರ್ತೈತಿ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾತ್ರ ಮಾಡೋದಿರ್ತೈತಿ. ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕನ್ವೀನಿಯಂಟ್, ನಾಟ್ ಕನ್ವೀನಿಯಂಟ್, ಸೂಟೇಬಲ್, ನಾಟ್ ಸೂಟೇಬಲ್, ದೇರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಲೆಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ನೋ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್, but less importance. So it's a very common practice into the real life. Okay, now after understanding this, let us understand what is centralization. Okay, so kendrikaranada vyakya. According to Lewis Allen, centralization is a systematic and consistent reservation. Understand this, centralization is a systematic and consistent reservation of authority at central point in an organization. All the power is laid into one hand. That is centralization. Okay, ಲೂಯಿಸ್ ಆಲನ್ ಅವರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಧಿಕಾರವು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತ ಹಾಗೂ ಸ್ಥಿರವಾಗಿ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕೃತವಾಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಎನ್ನುವರು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಧಿಕಾರವು, ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿರ್ಣಯಗಳು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನೇನ್ ಕಾರ್ಯ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು ನಡೀತಾವ ಅದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರೇ ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನೌ ದ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗುಡ್, ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸೇಷನ್? ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ ತಲೆಯಾಗಿದ್ದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಬೇಕು, ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ನನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗುಡ್? Is centralization good, where the complete power is in one hand and kind of dictatorship is there and they are only taking all the decisions and they are forcing it on their subordinates? Or decentralization is good, where the power is divided, it has been delegated and they have some importance into the organization, where their point of view is important, they have the rights to take decision? What is good? Centralization is good or decentralization is good is a very common question. The answer for this question is both are important. Now how do we decide that when which has to be implemented? It goes according to the situation. See, let me give you a common example. See, when corona or COVID-19 had hit our nation, let me give you an example of our country only. In the month of March, on 22nd of March, there was Janata Curfew, and right on 23rd, there was a complete lockdown announced into the country. So can I say it was a decision taken by the central government? Yes. Did they take into consideration that which state has how many cases, and did they give any importance for the chief ministers of the respective states? The answer is no. Because that time they thought that whatever action they are taking, it is good for the whole country. and they have that power to take that decision, and that's why the name comes central government. Correct? But then once the unlock 1, unlock 2, unlock 3 and all those things happened, after that what you can see, if you are into news nodakatiri, you will be seeing that slowly the government is passing on the powers back to the state, where the decision making regarding the reopening of the workplaces, the reopening of the complexes, the reopening of the schools and colleges, the reopening of the restaurants, the reopening of the theaters, parks, public places, those decisions will be taken by the state government. So can I say that now the central government has adopted the policy of decentralization again? Yes. Okay, it's a very common example. So ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಸಂಘಟನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೇ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಬರೇ ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಇರಾಕ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತೈತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣನೂ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತೈತಿ. So there cannot be just black and white, that only centralization, only decentralization. There cannot be like that. According to the time, situation, nature of the business and whatever things are there into the environment, accordingly the decision making will be done and it will be selected what kind of organization needs to be adopted. Okay, so related to this point only what we are doing, we are making a comparison between centralization and decentralization. See, it's very important to understand in depth what is centralization and decentralization, because according to this only you will run and manage your future organizations. See, I always see my students as, yes, you all are going to become top managers only. So you should also behave like that and you should build up that attitude like that, yes, I will be on the top and I will be the one who is going to take the decisions. Okay. So here I have taken 4 points on the basis of which we are going to make the comparison between centralization and decentralization. Okay. So the very first point is meaning. It refers to the concentration of powers at higher level only. The one who is at the top, only they will have the power to take all the decisions and they will give the least importance to the other levels of management. The other levels of management only need to follow whatever decisions are coming from the top. Then what do you mean by decentralization? It refers to the distribution of powers to every level of management. The top management has certain power to take decisions, same goes with the middle level management and same goes for the lower level management also, where even at the lowest level the foreman or the workman has the power to take certain decisions for his group of members. Then authority, the power. Okay, top management retains maximum authority, middle and bottom level are having low authorities, very marginal. ಓಕೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಆ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾವೆ, ಪಾಲಿಸೀಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾವೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಸೋದು ಅವ್ರ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಸೋ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪವರ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪವರ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಸ್ ಸಚ್ ದೇ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಕ್. ಭಾಳ ಸಲ ನೀವು ವಾಕ್ಯ ಕೇಳಿರೋದು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿದಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆ ನೀವು ತಲೆ ಓಡಿಸ್ತೀರಿ? ಸೊ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಹಿಯರ್. ಓಕೆ, authority is systematically divided at every level. It's a deliberate action which is done. Can I say here that it's a delegation of the work? Yes. Where systematically they are giving the authority to each level of manager and where they are accountable, responsible for each action they take. Okay. Then where it is suitable. It is suitable for small size organization. See, I told you again and again. Centralization, decentralization goes or depends upon the nature of the business, the size of the business, the condition into the environment at that particular point. Okay. So, by large, centralization is suitable for the small size organization where the owner or the partners itself are making the complete decision making. But when we speak about multinational joint stock companies, it is suitable for large scale organizations to adopt the decentralization. Now what about freedom? See, everybody likes freedom. So here managers have less freedom of actions. We are not talking about the top management. The top management has the complete power and the decisions are forwarded to the middle and lower level management, where the managers do not have any as such power and they need to oblige for whatever orders are coming from the top, and hence they do not have any such freedom for action. Here the managers have more freedom for action. They can take the decisions according to their knowledge, skill, experience, and as such they don't need to report it also very often to the top management. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಪ್ರತಿ ಒಂದು ಮಾತಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು, ಬಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾ ಮುಂದೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಹಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. They have that much power that they can take the decisions according to their knowledge. Okay. Now let us understand the importance of decentralization. Okay, centralization is good, but as we can see these days decentralization is more in power. ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ decentralization ಅನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡಕತ್ತೀವಿ. Why? That's the question. Is it important? Yes, it's very important. How? These 6 points will tell us. First of all, it develops initiative among the subordinates. ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಅಧೀನರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುತ್ತೊಡುಗುವಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಸುವುದು. Those who are coming for the job, please understand this. They are not coming only for salary. Motivation ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರೇರೇಪಣೆ. Okay, for some people money is motivation. For some people recognition and designation is motivation, and for some people there is nothing that motivates them. They are happy wherever they are. Okay, they don't want to go ahead. ಯಾರು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಾರು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಅವ್ರು ಸಂತುಷ್ಟ ಅದಾರು, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೇರೆದು ಏನೂ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮೋಟಿವೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ they will be what they are least interested in going forward. Okay, so here when you give the authority to your subordinates, I trust you, you can do it. Okay, I give you the power, you take decisions. If something goes wrong, I am there behind, don't worry. Okay, so when you give the authority or you delegate or you decentralize your organization, what will happen? It will develop the initiation into the subordinates. What do you mean by initiation? To come forward and take the responsibility. That is called initiation. Okay, class ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ವರ್ಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, how many of you raise your hands? Ma'am, I will do that. Very less. So that shows initiation. Okay, so work place ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂತ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, those who are ready to take the initiation. I will do, give me the job. Okay, I will take the risk. So when you start giving the power, ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಬರೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಲೈಕ್ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. Along with that work, you give them some responsibility, you give them some authority, and you ask for the accountability also. But when that kind of attitude is there, that is decentralization, ultimately it will help your subordinates in being more active. And when they are active, they are motivated, they will work in their best manner for the improvement of the organization. See, actually they are working for their own improvement, but indirectly it is helping the organization also to grow. And it is very important to have such kind of subordinates. Agdi mappagi bartaru kundartaru hogtaru, you don't require that kind of workforce, because it will not lead the organization anywhere. What kind of workforce you require? The one who is always active, ready to do the work whichever is given. They have certain ideas and they are ready to take the risk also. Of course, risk is always involved, and that's why the accountability is important. Then it develops managerial talent for the future. Right from the beginning, when you start taking the initiation, when you start taking the work, I will do it, please give it to me. When you say that please give me the work, I will do it, that's the first quality a manager should have. And slow by slow you will develop your leadership skills, you will develop your communication skills, you will develop the command, you will develop the planning, you will develop the organizing. Ultimately you become a manager material, and that's what every organization wants. As I told in my previous class, a person cannot run the organization forever. Why? Human being has a limit. After 60 years, 70 years, you are going to retire. So then you should prepare the future managers. So by decentralization, see, by decentralization, what will happen? You will prepare the future managers. Anything can happen anytime. There may be a crisis, people may die, okay, and or branches might open, so then you can transfer them there. Anything can be there. So continuously it's the duty of the organization to keep on preparing the new managers. So when you delegate the work, when you give them the power, it will develop the managerial talent for the future. Nodri, ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರಾಗ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆಗಳು ಇರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. Please understand. Not everybody can become a hero. Some people have to become the audience also, na? Okay. So in the same way, everybody cannot become the manager. So if you want to become a manager, first that quality should be there in you, and then they will give you opportunity. And when you grab that opportunity and showcase your talent, ultimately you become a managerial material. But for that, again, that kind of organization also is required. Please understand this. ಅಂತ ಸಂಘಟನೆನೂ ಬೇಕು, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಮಾಡಕತ್ತಾರು, ಅವ್ರದ ಏನು ಸಬಾರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ಸ್ ಅದಾರು, ಅಧೀನರ ಅದಾರು, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಒಪ್ಪಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕತ್ತಾರು, ಮತ್ತು ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆಯ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆಯನ್ನು ಅದು ಬೆಳೆಸುತ್ತದೆ. Is it good for the organization? Very much. Suppose you have a team where everybody is intelligent. Isn't it a good thing? Of course it's a good thing. Will it help for the subordinates? Yes. How? They will not think of leaving the job. Why? They have an opportunity in your organization of growing in the future. So ultimately they will keep on giving their 100% again and again. Why? Because they see an opportunity there. Okay? So that's why it's a win-win situation for the management as well as for the employee. Then it helps in quick decision making. Nodri, ಯಾವಾಗ ನೀವು ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಒಪ್ಪಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಟಾಪ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತೈತಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಹೆಂಗಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದೇ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವುದು ಮತ್ತು ಅದರ ಕೆಲಸ 10 ಮಂದಿ ಮಾಡುವುದು ಫರಕ್ ಬೀಳ್ತೈತೋ ಇಲ್ಲ, 100% ಫರಕ್ ಬೀಳ್ತೈತಿ. Why? When you divide the work, when you allocate the work, when you delegate the work, the decision making becomes faster. And when decision making becomes faster, the work execution also becomes faster. So, ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣದಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ತ್ವರಿತ ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡುವಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ನೀವು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತೀರಿ. ಮತ್ತು ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಕಾಂಪಿಟಿಷನ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ವೈವ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ನ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಎಷ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಅಷ್ಟ ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ಬರ್ತಾವ. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮೂವರ್ಸ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಭಾಷೆದಲ್ಲಿ. ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನ? ಮೂವರ್ಸ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್. ಯಾರು ಮೊದಲ ಆ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಲಾಭ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಬಟ್ ಯಾರು ಮೊದಲ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ತಗೋತಾರೋ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ನು ಬಹಳ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಬೀಳೋದು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಎಂಟರಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಅನ್ನೋನ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಟೈಮ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟೇಬಲ್, ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಡೇಂಜರಸ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಬಟ್ ದೆನ್ ದ ಒನ್ ಹೂ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ದ ರಿಸ್ಕ್, of course they will have super profits. Okay, then next is relief to the top management. How relief to the top management? You have divided the work, correct? ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ವಿಕರ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ ಕೆಲಸನೂ ಹಂಚ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರಿ, ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಹಂಚಾಕತ್ತೀರಿ. ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಟಾಪ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ನಿಶ್ಚಿಂತತೆ ಬರ್ತೈತಿ, and they can focus on some another more important issues. See, ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Every top management should not indulge itself into micromanagement. ಪ್ರತಿ ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಮಾತುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ತಲೆ ಓಡಿಸಬಾರದು, ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಬಾರದು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಎದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಆನ್ ದ ಬಿಗರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಾರ್ಜರ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ that work cannot be done by the lower level management, and that's why only some power and authority should be given to the middle and lower level management. Okay, you tackle these all things, don't bother me about these things. And by this delegation or decentralization, the top management will be relieved. Okay, they will not have to bother about each and every minute things. Okay, then it facilitates growth. As I told, decentralization is a win-win situation for the manager as well as the management. Ultimately both will try to develop their own things. ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಮರಿಬೇಡ್ರಿ. ಮೂರು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಅದಾವ. ಏನದಾವು? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಬರ್ತಾವು ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನಲ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್, where they are trying to manage the work and manage the people. Then comes the social objectives, where they are trying to develop something or give something to the society. And the last is personal objective. My power, my position, my salary, my designation should increase. Every worker is working for that only. And to increase that, he will work to the best of his efficiency. And ultimately it is beneficial for the organization. So it facilitates growth. ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆಯನ್ನು ಸುಗಮಗೊಳಿಸುತ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಅವರು ಏನು ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳು ಅದಾವ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋ ಅವ್ರ ಕಡೆ ಅಂತ ಪವರ್ ಐತಿ, ಮತ್ತು ಅವ್ರ ಕಡೆ ಅಂತ ಜ್ಞಾನನೂ ಐತಿ, ಅನುಭವನೂ ಐತಿ. ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಅದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ? ಎಲ್ಲಾರು ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಕೊನೆಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಬೆಟರ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಸಿ, ವೆನ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಗೋಸ್ ರಾಂಗ್, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ವೇರ್ ದ thing has gone wrong. But when already the work has been divided and you get the information, okay, in this particular thing the situation has gone wrong, it's easier for damage control, for the control. Okay, so uttama niyantraneginu ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ? ಇದು ಸಹಾಯಕಾರಿ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. Okay, now the next question which we are going through is, what is good, delegation or decentralization? ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಒಂದ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತೈತಿ, but it is not so. Okay, delegation is different and decentralization is different. On what grounds? Let us understand. Okay, it's a very important 4 marks question. It will come into your exams. So here we have taken the 5 bases for the comparison between delegation and decentralization. Okay, again the first one is the nature. Delegation is a compulsory act because no individual can perform all the tasks on his own. ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಪಪ್ಪ ಕೆಲಸ ಅವರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಮಮ್ಮಿ ಕೆಲಸನೂ ಅವರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, every work should be done by them. Is it possible? Not possible. Okay, at some point initially 1 ತಿಂಗಳು, 2 ತಿಂಗಳು, 3 ತಿಂಗಳು, 1 ವರ್ಷ, 2 ವರ್ಷ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಕಾಯಂ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು? No. And that's why only delegation is very important, because human limits are there. ಓಕೆ, ಮನುಷ್ಯಗೆ ಸೀಮೆಗಳು ಅದಾವ, ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. And that's why only we require a team, we require a group with the help of whom we can do all the work. So it's a compulsory act. Decentralization is an optional policy decision. It is done at the discretion of the top management. See, this is compulsory and this is optional. How you will decide decentralization is necessary or not necessary? By looking at the organizational structure. Functional is there, centralization will be there, divisional is there, decentralization will be there. Okay, then freedom of action. More control by superiors, hence less freedom to take own decisions, where in delegation. In decentralization, less control over executives, hence greater freedom of action. Okay, what is the status in delegation? It is a process followed to share tasks. Okay, whatever work is there, you are dividing the work. It is the result of the policy decision of the top management. The top management only has decided it. How much scope do they have? It has a narrow scope as it is limited to superior and his immediate subordinates. Now it has wider scope as it implies extension to the delegation to the lowest level of management. And the last point is purpose. To lessen the burden of the manager, delegation is done, whereas to increase the role of the subordinates. See, there's a difference. Manager on ಕೆಲಸ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ? He will delegate the work. You do it. And here the focus is on development of the subordinates. To increase the role of the subordinates in the organization by giving them more authority. So not too many differences, minute differences are there, but then too it's very important to understand the fine difference between delegation and decentralization. Okay, the same is written in Kannada. Okay, so let us understand it. ಏನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಪ್ರತಿನಿಯೋಜನೆ ಮತ್ತು ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಒಂದು ಹೋಲಿಕೆಯ ನೋಟ. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಆಧಾರ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ ಅಥವಾ ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನೈತಿ ಅದನ್ನ ತಗೋನು. ಎಲ್ಲಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನ್ ತಗೋಳಕತ್ತೀವಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಸ್ವಭಾವ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಪ್ರತಿ ನಿಯೋಜನೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೈತಿ, ಪ್ರತಿ ನಿಯೋಜನೆಯು ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾದ ಕ್ರಿಯೆಯಾಗಿದೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾಗಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೆಯಾಗಿದೆ? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡುವುದು ಅಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ, ಇಂಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. One person cannot do each and every work. He cannot do production, purchase, sales, marketing, accounting, finance. Is it possible? No. ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟಾಣಿ ಅಂಗಡಿಗೆ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, you know it. Workers ಇಟ್ಕೋತಾರೆ. Okay. If not in shop, they have certain outside help also. Why? A person cannot do each and everything. Not only because of his physical limits, technical and knowledge limits are also there. Okay. ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಐಚ್ಛಿಕ ನೀತಿ ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಏನು ಮೇಲ ಹಂತದವರು, ಉನ್ನತ ಹಂತದವರು ಇರ್ತಾರೋ ಅವ್ರ ಮರ್ಜಿದಿಂದ ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಬರ್ತೈತಿ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅವಶ್ಯಕ ಅನಿಸ್ತು ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ಇಟ್ ವೋಂಟ್ ಬಿ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟೆಡ್. ದೆನ್ ಕಾರ್ಯ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರತೆ. ಏಕೆಂದರೆ ಯಾರೇ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯು ತಾನೇ ಸ್ವತಃ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೈತಿ. ಕಾರ್ಯ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರತೆ ಒಳಗೆ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಪ್ರತಿ ನಿಯೋಜನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಧೀನರಿಗೆ ಕಾರ್ಯ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರತೆ ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ವೇರಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉನ್ನತ ಹಂತ ನಿರ್ವಾಹಕರು ವಿವೇಚನೆಗೆ ಒಳಪಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಸ್ಥಿತಿ. ಮೇಲಾಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಆಗುವುದರಿಂದ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯತೆ ಏನಿರ್ತೈತಿ, ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ವೇರಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇವ್ರ ಕಡೆ ಏನಿರ್ತೈತಿ, ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯತೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಿರ್ಣಯ ತಗೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಹಕ್ಕು ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿ. ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಹಂಚಲು ಅನುಸರಿಸುವ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಯಾಗಿದೆ. ವೇರಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಏನೈತಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಉನ್ನತ ನಿರ್ವಾಹಕಣಾಂಗದ ನೀತಿ ನಿರ್ಧಾರದ ಫಲಿತಾಂಶ ಐತಿ. ಕೊನೆಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಉದ್ದೇಶ. ಇದರ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿ ಸೀಮಿತ. ಇದು ಮೇಲಧಿಕಾರಿ ಮತ್ತು ನಂತರದ ಅಧೀನರಿಗೆ ಸೀಮಿತ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಾಪಕನ ಕಾರ್ಯಭಾರ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತದೆ. ವೇರಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಇದರ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆಯ ಕೆಳ ಹಂತಗಳಿಗೂ ಪ್ರತಿ ನಿಯೋಜನೆಯ ವಿಸ್ತರಣೆ ಎಂದು ಸೂಚಿಸುತ್ತದೆ. ಸಂಘಟನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸ್ವಾಯತ್ತತೆ ನೀಡಿ ಅಧೀನರ ಪಾತ್ರ ಹೆಚ್ಚುವಂತೆ ಮಾಡುವುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಒಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ತಿಳಿತೈತಿ, ದಟ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಪಾನ್ ದ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ it will be decided whether delegation is important or decentralization important or centralization is important. But basically our today's class was focusing on the importance of decentralization and centralization. So what is the basic meaning of centralization and decentralization? Okay, so with this we have come to the end of our 5th chapter. So in this online classes we have completed 5 chapters and the next chapter will be taken into your classroom itself. Okay, so yes, see you all in the classroom. Thank you.